Good morning and welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be going over 5 mats that are doing better right now. Now just stick around and enjoy the video. Okay, so today we're going to be going over 5 mats that are seemingly to do better at this moment in time. Obviously before Shadowlands a lot of stuff had dropped in value due to the influx of people trying to get those last few Brutosaurs for themselves. Obviously the Brutosaur is now available on the black market auction house exclusively, but before then obviously you could buy it for 5 million gold, and everyone started doing it, and therefore the prices went down quite considerably because there's so many people farming. Aside from all of that, these are some of the markets that are not Shadowlands specific, so no Shadowlands materials or farms will be in this, just so you know before we move into this, and therefore this is markets that had been hit quite considerably and are on the uprise across pretty much most regions. And just so you get an inkling on if an area is highly contested, you can always go do these as an alternative to make gold. That being the case, let's get into number 1, which is Cobalt Ore. Now Cobalt Ore is doing surprisingly well at this moment in time. It is located within the Borean Tundra, and this is a relatively easy farm. Not many people actually go and farm Cobalt Ore, and obviously the nodes are quite well spaced out. This due to the fact of the low amount of people farming it, along with the amount of node density. The nodes are very spaced out, so it will take you quite a while to actually farm up a load of this. And obviously a lot of people use it for things like the Mechanist Chopper and transmog items. Mechanist Chopper more specifically is the one that you would be farming this material for. Now aside from all that, this farm is doing really well on the gold front, as the prices seemingly across EU and US seems to be actually on the rise at this moment in time, and is something that you can do alongside doing Shadowlands content and all that stuff. So if like a farm is highly contested and all the nodes just keep despawning by the time you get to them, you can always go and farm this one is instead, and that should hopefully bring in some decent amount of gold moving forward. So from all of this is a very fairly easy farm in order to do, and the route is within WorthIt if you have the route add-on as well as WorthIt. Just FYI, all of the routes are actually inside of WorthIt before we move on to this video. Now aside from all of that, let's just jump into number 2, which is the GROMSBLOOD farm. Now, GROMSBLOOD is a herb from vanilla, and seemingly it actually fetches a very pretty penny due to the fact that you're able to farm up a hell of a lot of this stuff because it's vanilla herb items, and it was originally designed that the node would be for people on a ground mount. Now with flying you can actually farm up a hell of a lot more of this, especially if you're on a druid. You can pick up a load of these different types of herbs, and it will give you an array of different herbs moving forward. Aside from all of that, that is pretty much something that I would actually recommend doing, and GROMSBLOOD has always been a very good farm in order to do. I found it to be a great way in order to make gold, and yeah, it's one of those ones where not many people actually farm it up because they don't feel it's worth much, but overall I kind of find it to be really handy in the grand scheme of things. Now aside from all of that, this is located within Felwood, and for obvious reasons, if you do pair it with mining, you can considerably increase the amount of gold you're actually going to be getting along with this. Alongside this is just an easy way in order to get inks for milling, and because of the amount of herb that you are able to get, you can get quite a considerable amount of inks and or pigments from these herbs when you're actually milling them to sell on for a future date. So from all of that, if you are not a scribe and you don't value these inks at all, then obviously do not mill these because you should be using them to craft. So if you do decide to do this actual farm, I would highly recommend just selling the mats flat on the auction house if you are not a scribe. So from all of that, let's move into number 3, and a personal favourite of mine because I am a key proprietor of fishing, and fishing is a great farm, and the albino cavefish is like the pinnacle of gold making when it comes towards fishing. It holds its price relatively well due to the fact that it's used within the Vial of the Sands recipe, which requires 8 albino cavefish in order to turn into 8 deepstone oil. Obviously this does vary depending on the proc chance, but that's not what we're talking about right here. The value for this comes from being used in the Vial of the Sands, and overall this is a great fish in order to farm up, as it requires you to go to deep home and just fish in the pools. Ideally, you would want to actually farm up the fishing pools that are dotted around the area, and it's usually the northwest which provides you with quite a considerable amount of albino cavefish for your time invested. Aside from that, the things of note you may want to consider for this: if you do intend to do this static, you will get a load of fish that don't sell all that well, so it's better off that you farm up the nodes instead of just staying static like a standard fishing farm like Dark Moon Dagamore, where you can just sit there and do nothing and all that jazz. So that's something that you can look at moving forward. Aside from all of that, let's move into number 4, which is a personal favourite and a very reliable farm in my point of view, and that is the SARONITE ore farm. SARONITE ore has gone up in price due to not many people actually farming this anymore, and this is used in order to do a wide variety of different transmogs and actually help to provide things for your mechanist chopper craft. Ideally, SARONITE ore can be smelted into bars and then transmuted into titanium ore, or well, titanium bars, and you can also get the titanium ore from this farm. What you'll be wanting to do is go over to Winter Grasp, and that will provide you with a hell of a lot of different ores and gems that you can use. The gems, on the other hand, take a long time to sell, so it's something that you may want to consider when actually doing this farm. And aside from all of that, if you are going to do this farm, you're mainly going to be getting your gold from the titanium ore and the SARONITE ore. The others are all little extras that you get alongside this, as well as the Eternals that you get alongside that as well. Now, bear in mind you will get an influx of different types of Eternals, and you can sell those on for a pretty penny if they are Eternal Fire and Eternal Shadow. The rest of them, i.e. the Eternal Earth, Air and Water, don't really sell for all that much, and they can be pretty much bought from the vendors using the Frozen Orb flip, so I wouldn't really worry about selling them for the highest of prices. I would just try and just sell them. Aside from all of that, let's move into the last and final one at number 5, which is AZSHARA'S Veil. Now, AZSHARA'S Veil has always been a bit of a fan favourite of mine. I've very much enjoyed it, and this one is located in the abyssal depths within Vashj'ir. What we want to do is go in like a linear motion. It's like a linear kind of circular motion, kind of. It's like a straight line. Basically, you'll see this on the screen right now, and this farm is relatively easy in order to do. You don't really need to worry all that much when you're actually farming this up. I would actually recommend you actually pairing this with mining, as you can get quite a lot of obsidian ore, and that seems to be going for a hell of a lot of gold at this moment in time as well, but it didn't actually make it on this list. So you could pair this with mining and also your AZSHARA'S Veil with herbalism. You could actually pull in a hefty amount of gold overall, hence why it actually came at number 5 on this list and the last farm on this video. Now, aside from all of that, what I would recommend is actually farming up in Vashj'ir as a druid, as you get the swim speed boost as well as your other swim speed boost for doing the quest introduction. That alongside that means that you'll be able to pick up herbs and mine ore a hell of a lot faster than a lot of other classes can, and it won't need you to require you to remount that much, because obviously it will dismount you when you're actually mining, but it's literally a press of a button to remount again. So I would highly recommend farming pretty much all of these farms on a druid if you have access to a druid. Other than that, that is pretty much all I have to say for today's video. Take it easy and have a lovely rest of the day. If you want to support the channel and help make the channel even better, then why not check out the Patreon? Members get additional info, gold making resources, and Patreon specific content. The link is located in the description down below. Thank you and have an awesome day.